Hello darling, a supernatural video, as probably the title hinted. And another hint you may get from this video is why I haven't done any other. Look at my face. I think it's quite self-explanatory. Anyway, let's get started because there's so much I need to talk about. There's episode 17, 18, and obviously the Rome Convention that was held on the 8th, 9th, and 10th of April. Now let's start with the episodes. First thing that I have to say, I got me notes, both on paper, yeah, and not on paper. Anyway, episodes 17 and 18. First thing I have to say is that my heart sighs a sigh of relief whenever I see at the beginning in the titles Misha Collins. When I know Misha's going to be there, hopes rise high. Episode 17 was the one about Titanic, and I kind of like it. The fact that Titanic was involved was nice. And whenever there's an alternate universe, I enjoy any kind of story that takes place. There's one thing that I have to say that I think makes me a slightly different viewer or reader, whatever, than other people. To me, the surprise of the plot is not really the point. I mean, I don't care if I can actually predict what's going to happen, as long as you tell the story in a funny, entertaining way, in a quirky way, and more to it. If I can anticipate what's going to happen, it's even better because that means that I'm really involved into the plot. I don't care if you come up with, I don't know, unexpected cliffhangers or anything, as long as you tell the story right. The Titanic thing, and probably even episode 18, are not surprising to me. The alternate universe thing is so obvious. To me, it was obvious the second you see the car, because, I mean, a Mustang instead of the Impala, that was quite clear. I mean, this is not the Winchester boys that we're used to. I was happy to see Alan and to skip Joe. What can I say? I really disliked Joe. I didn't like the character, I didn't like the actress. I think there's a problem with women in Supernatural, which is probably why they killed them so quickly. Anyway, episode 18 somehow opened up a breach and light came in the darkness, because from authenticity on, it all clicked back into place. I mean, I really liked all the jokes. The relationship between Sam and Dean being funny and silly, and Sam tolerating him was adorable to me. The I love pussy, and I can make that a t-shirt. Really, I need that t-shirt. I want it. I also really liked when Cass arrives wounded at Bobby's, and instantly Bobby's reaction is, are we fighting or are we running? And it's so, I know it sounds inappropriate, but it's sweet, the fact that they are so immediately a team. Whichever the enemy, it's a we we're talking about. I like the fact that a mobile phone is called a magic brick, and I liked the reference to Deadwood, which was clever, and the colonoscopy. That was nice as well. Anyway, episode 18 somehow makes me hopeful for the future. Still, I wonder what took you so long. I mean, this is episode 18, and from what I've gathered, the season finale is going to be double episode in back-to-back. So time is running out, and is it only just now that you fire your best rounds? It seems like a waste to me. But let's go ahead and talk about the Supernatural Convention in Rome. This was the second time I attended it, and it's the only convention that I've ever been to, really. Last year was the first one, and this time I was bizarrely much more excited, probably because I already knew what to expect. So I knew there was a minimum plateau that was going to be met, and whatever else I could get above that, it would have been a good surprise. That I knew. I knew that the guests were kind of special, because Richard the Trickster was there, Crowley was there, and since I miss him so much in the series, I was really glad that I could meet him in real person. Balthazar, and I restrained myself from asking him questions about Fringe, and Chuck. Now, I got me notes, as I said earlier, that I took on the phone during the convention, and they're really messy, but I'll try to go through them because These come from the panels. Last year's I took pictures with some of the actors. You probably remember my picture with Misha, unfortunately, and in case you don't, why spare myself the humiliation once again? So here it is. And since you gotta give out something new, here's the threesome of a lifetime, another humiliating picture of myself, Misha, and Jensen. If you're still there and you haven't laughed your mind out, here's what I've gathered from the panels. Jensen finally was there. He wasn't last year, really, because he was the victim of the worst jet lag of human history. But this year, oh boy, he was in right shape. And I'm not just talking physically, which he was, by the way. But anyway, apparently, during the French mistake, the crew put together gag reel, outtakes, just as an inside joke. Apparently, it has already found its way to YouTube, but I haven't looked for it yet. Jensen suggests that you do, because apparently it's really, really, really funny. He talked slightly and mysteriously about the double season finale, again, which is back to back, and the fact that actors have many different ways to cry on command, whether it's the menthol or, other tricks, but that he's very, very good with what the crew calls the OPT, and that stands for one perfect tear. Apparently, he's capable of producing this one single perfectly round drop that crosses his cheek and makes the crew go wild every time. Everyone tried the son of a bitch. The impressions of one of the other is really, really funny. Everyone tries Misha, really, who's been crashing every panel he could. And Misha, oh my boy. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Chuck, obviously, the largest part of question that he was asked was about, so come on, are you God? And apparently he hadn't figured out himself whether he was God or not. The crew was making fun of him right after that scene where he, in his own words, 522 is the scene where people of the crew would meet him in the corridors and go, "Hey, God, how's it going?" So apparently he met with Kripke to get his doubts sorted. And listen, am I God? Kripke doesn't want to get a straight position on the matter. Apparently he wants the whole episode to remain open to interpretation. So whichever way, you're right. Jared was extremely funny too. Ruby was there with him, which is slightly surreal. Again, the first night, there's this cocktail that is held at the convention. You get all these round tables, looks like a wedding, and all the actors go around, chit-chat with everyone. And you sit there, sipping cheap wine and eating nuts, and all of a sudden, hey, there's Crowley. And then there's Sam and Ruby all over him. Again, it's slightly surreal. Jared, in his panels, mentioned that there's changes to the script all the time, and that makes the whole lot a bit messy. Apparently, at the end of the season, we get a great payoff on how exactly he got out of the cage, and that's good. There's a lot of funny stories, obviously, about Misha, because Misha is a prankster, and people like to be pranked by him, and I don't blame them. I'd like to be pranked by Misha. Anyway, apparently, during this last season, Misha and Jared started sharing a passion for Scrabble. And they decided to make it all much more juicy when they put money on the table. $10 for each point. I don't know if you know Scrabble. I do. I'm really, really good at it. But anyway, it's hard that you might win with a lot of distance from your other players. So really, this $10 thing wasn't supposed to be a tragedy. But somehow it turned into one when Jared got a triple word, 7 letters, something amazing, and won Misha by 1,600 points or something like that. Obviously, Jared pointed out that he wasn't expecting Misha to pay back, but Misha said, "No, I'm a man of honor, a man of my word. You're gonna get till the last penny." And Jared knew he was screwed the second he got to his trailer and found a post-it on his door, and the post-it read, "Good game." Inside the trailer were 70-something pounds of nickels, dimes, cents, $1,600 and something scattered around his trailer. To this day, apparently, Jared can still find cents under armchairs or in vents. This was the main story until we got a sequel, because finally Misha won. He won $600 and something, and Jared obviously couldn't miss the opportunity to give them all back to him. 600 something dollars in coins in his car, and Misha was so lovely as to share it all on Twitter. Here it is. And I also found bits and pieces of last year's convention, so I'm going to put it here.
Which, I didn't show up here feeling sexy. Sitting on a stage with her and listen to all the questions like, "Tracy, you'll work out so much. What is your secret?" And Richard, what is your favorite fried food? I can tell, Tracy, you love the music. You beat the drum, you beat everything with the leather. What do you do? Well, I go to the woods and I make with the bobcat and then I skin it. And then I make my own drum and I beat it senseless, and that's how I call my mate. Hey, little Richard, you like it a beer? It's been wonderful being here. We're super glad to be here. This is day one. Day one. We've done a bus trip. We are so glad to be here. We're glad you're here because it'd be weird to talk to an empty room. Stay here, have fun, be patient. We're here all weekend, and we're looking forward to hanging out with you and seeing you and getting our picture and things signed by you. And what's Italian for grazie?
When we got Jared and Jensen at the panel together, one of the questions that was asked was, which one's your favorite punchline, your catchline, really? Jensen's favorite is "Driver picks the music," etc., because he says that the second he read that line on the script, he understood what their relationship was, and apparently it's just a funny line, but truth is, it goes way deeper than that. You can tell, again, what is the relationship between the boys, and what's it going to evolve into, really. It says much more than it looks, and I agree with him. Jared's favorite catchline, apparently, is from the season finale, so I'll just give you the heads up, and let's keep our eyes peeled, because apparently somebody asks Sam something and he replies, and that reply is Jared's favorite catchline. The panel of Richard and Mark, that would be the trickster and Crowley, was extremely interesting. Unexpectedly, Mark is a very serious person. You really would, I wasn't expecting it, but he is a very committed actor, really committed to the craft. One of the issues that came up is about online viewers. The problem is that the suits, as he calls them, can't monetize on online viewers, and that is a problem, especially for people like me who, I won't deny it, watch Supernatural on streaming, and I don't do it because I want to steal it. It's merely because I can't watch it on TV. I'd rather watch it on TV. I don't like to steal things. So, on the matter, Crowley gave us some advice, which is a sentence that sounds really, really weird. Anyway, whenever Supernatural is on TV, make sure you watch it. At least just put the TV on that channel, put it on mute and go around doing your things, but get it on your television. Write on blogs and sites. Show that the fandom is active, because Supernatural has a steady, loyal, faithful fandom, but we need to show everyone that we're there, even if they can't tell from maybe the views or the money they can make out of it. If you have cable television, record Supernatural and on something like My Sky or whatever, and watch it in the first 7 days, because I didn't know this. I mean, maybe everybody does, but I didn't. Watch it within 7 days, because apparently that counts for demographics and stuff. This year it was much more clear that this is a show made for fans, by fans. Like Mark, again, Crowley said, the great difference of today's television, as opposed to I don't know, the 70s and 80s television is that those who make it grew up in the same environment as those who see it. This makes it much more about sharing than simply delivering. And I think this year's convention made it extremely clear. It was quite obvious to me that they were enjoying it much more than before themselves, and that was really a joy to watch. Another thing that I need to say about Misha is that not only he's beautiful and witty and funny and whatever, he's also a good person, because he has a charity. I'll put the link in the box. He's committed to helping populations that have suffered great tragedies, especially Haiti, lately, because the point is remaining in the wounded area once the headlines are distracted by someone else. So this June, from the 24th, if I'm not mistaken, but again, cite on the doobly-doo, Misha's going to be in Haiti building, if you can believe it, our community center. So I understand it's not an easy task to undertake, but if you maybe have the possibility to go and do it, I think it would be just great. The convention in Rome, again, was even more amazing than it was last year, and I think you remember how enthusiastic I was last year, so that's surprising. I really, really hope they get around to do it again next year. I'll do my best to be there again. If you've ever been there, if you intend to go, tell me in the comments what your experience is and what you would like to share. Let me know what you think about episodes 17, 18, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!